Hello, Carol. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
This is Carol Chaoui. Is that correct? Did I say that
Chaoui,
right?
like an SH. Yeah.
Chaoui.
Like Chaoui dance.
She is from Wellesley, and you were dealing with breast and thyroid cancer. Tell us your story, if you would.
I am. Yeah, so I was diagnosed. I went in for my annual mammo July of 2009 and expected to, go home and have time to kind of hang out before I picked my kids up from camp, and kept getting called back by the radiologist for additional views, and then finally said, we don't really see anything, but we're going to do some biopsies just to be sure. And then the next night they called me to say, still inconclusive, we're going to do some more slices of the biopsy. And then I was on my way to a 5-mile race in South Boston, so 48 hours later, and they said, you definitely have cancer. You have to come in tomorrow for an MRI. So that was the Friday. And then I found, within the week that followed, I found out that I had stage 3 invasive breast cancer. And so it was really a shock because no family history, lifelong runner, a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
And I was fortunate to have the best team of doctors right away at Dana-Farber, and went through mastectomy, 4 months of heavy-duty chemo, and then 7 weeks of radiation, and started a 10-year plan of hormonal therapy. And then on the 5th anniversary to the date of my breast cancer diagnosis, I was diagnosed with stage 3 thyroid cancer. And that was really tough because I thought, okay, I'm on this treatment plan. I've done everything possible to, stay healthy. And so I went through a total thyroidectomy, and then 3 months later, radioactive iodine treatment. And then last summer, July 2015, I had a lot of pain in my hip while sitting and driving. And emailed my oncology nurse, Jen McKenna. So she said, let's schedule an MRI just in case it's, some sort of inflammation. We weren't even thinking cancer recurrence at all. And the report came back. I had a lot of inflammation, tendinitis, and bursitis, but there was a 2-centimeter lesion in my hip. So they said, let's do a PET scan. And we were leaving the next day for vacation. So when I came back from vacation, they did a PET scan, which confirmed metastatic breast cancer. Well, first they had to do a skull biopsy because they weren't sure if it was breast or thyroid. And it turned out it was breast cancer. So I started, the next day, I started treatment. I spent 8 hours at Dana-Farber, and, was surrounded by, my great team of doctors and nurses.
So your great team of doctors and nurses told you that you are the only patient they know with 2 different types of stage 4 cancer?
Yes.
So what's your nickname? Lucky? Wow.
Exactly.
Jeez.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, well, what happened is then I started the treatment right away and felt good and secured a number for the Boston Marathon and went for my routine 6-month neck ultrasound. And the radiologist was spending a lot of time on my neck, and I thought, oh, something's up. And he handed me the report, said, highly suspicious for metastatic thyroid cancer. And I just remember walking up the bridge back to Dana-Farber. I was at the Brigham in disbelief, and by the time I drove down to my endocrinologist's office, I was in tears saying, how can this happen? And they did the biopsy the next Monday. And I waited until May to have the surgery because I was in the midst of training for the Boston Marathon and everything. So it was kind of a crazy year, to say the least.
You ran Boston this year, though.
I ran Boston this year, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm going to run next year.
That's right. You didn't.
Oh, how was that 5K this weekend, Joe? Was it tough?
It was excellent.
Did you hit
Where
the
were
wall?
you?
No
Did you hit the wall?
excuses, no
I
excuses.
finished second in my age class.
That's good. That's
Tell
good.
me this. Everyone we've asked for 2 days now, and
Yes.
for 15 years now, almost everyone says they don't say why me. But for you, I can't help. I won't believe you if you tell me you didn't say why me.
I didn't say that, but what I did say last August was, once I was initially very angry, not at anyone or anything in particular, just kind of angry and afraid. I was afraid, thinking, because I had, I knew the statistics for metastatic breast cancer, and, it's very scary. And then to have to explain to my kids, my breast cancer has spread to my skull and my spine and my hip. For them, even for adults, it's a difficult concept to comprehend that you could have breast cancer in your skull. But my kids, what was amazing, we told them after dinner, and they knew that I had been training for Boston. And within seconds, after crying, they're like, does this mean you're not running Boston next year? So they associate my running with my prognosis. So I never really asked why me, but I thought, how did this happen? Did I do something wrong? Did I not, make the best effort possible to avoid a recurrence? And you have to accept that, whatever you do, and I really feel like I, made the effort, things still happen. The cancer still can come back. And I already had, stage 3 with positive lymph nodes, 6 years prior. So I knew I was at risk. And I feel like now I'm getting the best possible treatment, the best doctors in the world, and I'm just living each day, and with great hope that through funding for research and everything, they're going to keep me alive to see my grandkids. I'm hopeful for that.
So even if there's not a why me moment, I got to believe that living a healthy lifestyle, eating well, running,
Right.
staying active and all that, there has to be, this is kind of an unfair thing, wouldn't it be?
Yes,
Carol?
yeah.
This is not fair.
But, and I had to, someone shared on social media, there's, a pretty large network of metastatic breast cancer patients, and someone shared this shirt that said, "Everything hurts and I'm dying." And there's days when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I hurt, just from, the aches and pains of, aging and running and, treatments. But you have to accept that. Well, my kids always say pain is just weakness leaving your body, and I think they must have heard that on Tom and Jerry or something. But so whenever I complain about running, they're just like, okay, get over it. Just get over the pain and deal with it. And I just have to. It took me a few weeks after my diagnosis last summer to realize, okay, I'm not dying from cancer. I'm living with cancer. I now have, and over the past, year, 2 stage 4 diagnoses, and it's just part of my life. And, I'm getting the best treatments. I'm followed very closely. I go into Dana-Farber once a month for the metastatic breast cancer. I do a daily targeted therapy from home, and then I'm followed every 6 months for the thyroid cancer. So it's just, part of who I am now. And so that's, the part that I, deal with. On
When's the next marathon?
Boston next year.
You're going to do Boston next year?
Yes, yeah. I'm going to do a few 5Ks this fall, a Tufts 10K, and I feel like it's better to limit myself to 1 marathon per year.
I did Boston for a few years. I got a calf injury though this year. I don't think I'm a
Minahan looks
tough guy.
He looks for
okay.
excuses
Yeah.
to not run. Like this year was whatever you came up with, something.
Yeah, the sniffles.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
sniffles.
yes.
Exactly.
I forget what it was.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Shingles or
Hangnail.
something.
Hangnail.
That's the
You
worst.
got lots of excuses to sit out Boston.
I
And
know.
why does it mean so much to you?
Well, even when I was a qualified runner years ago, I always tried to raise money for different charities that were close to me. And once I secured the Boston number this year, I decided to raise money for metastatic breast cancer research at Dana-Farber. And over the years, I've always tried to raise $26,200, thinking, okay, $1,000 per mile, and never succeeded. I always got, stuck in the Newton Hills at 16,000 because I'd always compare it to, the
race,
miles
right.
along the course. And this year, I think because the cause was so much more personal than in previous years, living with metastatic disease and running, I ended up raising $73,000 for Dana-Farber.
How'd you do that with a gun?
Unbelievable.
I was lucky that Runner's World shared a story online, and it went viral. I think it was shared 15,000 times, and then people started writing to me. It was almost like an online support group. I'm a runner. I was diagnosed with breast cancer. What's your advice? And so I feel like if I can help anyone, get through their treatments and run and try and maintain a healthy lifestyle and, raise awareness and money for breast cancer.
So you took the positive approach. You looked at this and said, I'm going to use this as motivation to go out and run
Exactly.
and make some money.
Yes.
I look at it as saying, the loneliness of the long-distance runner. I'm going to be out there training, thinking about how bad I have it and how unfair this all is. You've turned that page and moved on to something
It's got to
positive.
be a great.
Yes,
It's got to be
yeah.
a great escape, though, too, in some
It
ways.
is,
Right? A nice
yes,
long training
because
run.
It definitely, because I run most of the time. I run with my friends, and
Yeah.
they keep me going. I have a very positive support group, and then on the days that I run by myself, it's the time to kind of work through
Sure.
if I am, afraid of certain treatments or how I'm feeling. But I would say that 99.9% of the time I'm out there positive, surrounded by great friends. The training runs are fun. I'm slow as can be these days. It's
Yeah.
like my marathon time is so slow. But I have fun out there doing it, and raising awareness and raising money for Dana-Farber.
She is
great.
the Wonder Woman from Wellesley. Carol Chaoui, thanks very much for
Thank
sharing
you
your
so
story.
much.
Keep